Thank you so much for tuning in to Journey with Christian podcast, guys. This is Christian, your host, and I just want to say I apologize for the quality of this audio that you're about to listen. We tried the best that we could to advance it and quality control it. However, though, this was the best that we could do. It is a fantastic article and a fantastic interview with Borush. I recommend obviously listening to the whole interview and of course sharing it with your family and friends, but I just wanted to send you a quick note. Thank you and enjoy. Significance is getting to the top and saying, I still have a relationship with my wife. I still have a relationship with my kids. And I've still achieved incredible financial, relational, spiritual success. So let me ask you, what is your definition of, would you say, that family balance, that lifestyle, if you will?
If you are like me and know that free enterprise is the greatest opportunity in the world, but you also see there are huge issues starting to arise, like why is mentorship decreasing in popularity? Why do entrepreneurs like us who love to succeed see people fail at the top and never leave true significance? And how do people like us make a lasting impact on the world, and is it possible for enough entrepreneurial leaders together to make a real difference? These are the blaring questions, and this podcast is the answer. Journey with me, your host, Christian. Together we will challenge the status quo and conquer our legacies.
Thank you so much for joining Journey with Christian podcast. Today we have an incredible guest, guys, and I just want to share with you some backstory. Obviously whenever we have someone on our podcast, we always like to share and have a conversation. And what was so incredible is we had about a 30 to 45 minute conversation with this gentleman today. And, just the value that he brought even before he got on our podcast is just incredible and so valuable. And his story. And you guys, I highly recommend sharing this with your friend, your family, your coworkers, your other team members, because he's an incredible man. You can learn so much from him. Guys, he helps entrepreneurs, leaders, and small business owners build sustainable and scalable business models that maximize productivity, growth, and profits without sacrificing family and lifestyle. He actually lost over $500,000 from a failing furniture business. However, though, he rebounded, and now he helps leaders and business owners to double to 10x their biz, increase their impact, and live a more abundant life guaranteed. He is a father to 6 kids and is a husband to a beautiful wife. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Borush Akbosh. How are you doing today, sir?
Good, Christian. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to learning from you.
Yeah, such an introduction. Wow. Gotta live up to it.
Good. Well, thank you so much again. And so, if you would, obviously I told just a very small percentage of, kind of the, who you are. If you would, just tell a little bit about who you are to our audience.
Sure. I was actually an immigrant who moved to the United States back in '92. My parents didn't come from a place of wealth. My father is a butcher and my mother is a tailor. So when I came to this country from former USSR as a refugee, I was glad that actually happened, because I don't believe I would ever achieve what I have achieved here in this country. Now, by the way, I'm a citizen. 5 years into it, I became a citizen and consider the United States as my home. And I'm pretty blessed. Everything that I have is just now is the moment to actually give back as a thank you for giving me a chance in this country. So when I came to this country, again, I went to high school. That was a couple of years of my plus 2 years of education. From there, I was pressured by my parents actually to go and become a dentist. And a few semesters into it, I realized that college is not for me. That's not something that I want to do, pursue education. I was actually very intimidated by my friends, peer pressure. They had money, they had time to go out, buy stuff, experience things, and I wanted some of that, right? So I got a job in an ice cream shop, and then ultimately when I quit college, I got another job in a bagel shop. So I used to wake up 4 in the morning, go to bagel shop, work until 2, get home, sleep a couple hours, change, go to ice cream shop, work there from 5 until 11, 12, and then go back home and sleep. So I did that for like a summer, and I realized working so hard also not a good idea, even though I really enjoyed. And biggest challenge back then was my language barrier. I did not speak any English. 2 years in high school, being surrounded by kids from former USSR, we all spoke Russian. So it was challenging. So even if it was funny how I got the job in the ice cream shop, it was actually through my friend who used to translate what people wanted into Russian language, and that's how we used to serve customers. So ultimately I moved on and realized that the working so hard not a good idea, so I looked for opportunities where I can put in as less investment as possible to get as much as possible back. And I discovered programming. I got a job, and from there my career just blew into multiple stages. I basically started with like $12 an hour, shifted to $20 an hour, $30 an hour, then $70,000 a year, $100 a year, and then became a consultant. That after the dot-com boom days, right? Back in '99, 2000, it was happening. I actually thought that I would retire by 25. It was so ambitious. So obviously with the 9/11 and other things, and me not really knowing what I was doing, I mean, in general in life, yes, I already had some successes. I purchased myself a vehicle that costed over $60K. I purchased a house. So it was great. But then we decided to move to Florida because we didn't want to raise kids in New York. I got married. So this is when actually that happened. We built a house in Florida. The furniture store that you mentioned that I lost over $500,000 there, that was a tremendous shock. So the programmer developer that decided to open a business furniture store, high-end furniture store, did not know anything about sales, did not know anything about business, commerce at all. We just went to a trade show, purchased some, ordered some furniture, opened a showroom, and we thought it would just advertise life would be good. That was not the case, obviously. I mean, initially it was great, but then, real estate crashed, and that's what I blamed for failure. So within a year, bottom line, I lost over $500K.
Wow.
And it sounds not a lot, but when you don't have when you don't have any money, back then I remember even $10, $20, you looked at it as a fortune. I was totally crushed. So with that, obviously, as I mentioned to you earlier, that I lost my house. I had to short sell it. I lost my car, it got repossessed. I had 3 kids, a 2-year-old, 1-year-old, and a newborn. So for 2 years, I didn't have a car. Didn't have a cell phone for 2 years. That was actually fun. I cannot do that again. It was not by choice, right? So if right now, try to live without a cell phone. I don't even know if it's possible. But I did it, and I was free man back then. Forcefully, it's possible. By choice, I don't think that you gotta have such a crazy willpower. So anyway, I had to regroup quick, and that's when I discovered marketing online, marketing, lead generation, affiliate marketing. I started to generate leads for other businesses, for lead networks, and that's how I actually regrouped. And as I did that, my whole mindset shifted from I didn't want to exchange time for money anymore, so I was looking for opportunities where I would get passive income streams, commissions, and I started to get involved in building businesses using technology because that's what I knew. I knew how to build it, I knew how to bring people. So I was approached by somebody who said, hey, I have $100,000 and I have an investor who's willing to give us $1.5 million, help me build the system. So it took us about 4 months to build the system, and we got that $1.5 million, build my move. It was actually an amazing experience because there from 6 people In January, we grew to like 80 people in August. So every day somebody was fired, every day somebody was hired. It was happening in that company. But a lot of experience about business I picked up there. So when I left them, I decided to start something of my own. I opened the Auto Transport Plus as a transportation company, Auto Transport. We used to hire, we were brokers pretty much, hired companies to transport the vehicles from state to state. Again, leveraging technology, I've built an amazing system. I already had a team in Ukraine that helped me out a lot. We grew their team to like 15 people by then. So when we built that platform, again, I didn't know anything about sales, right? I knew technology, I knew marketing. So we could not get the sales to the point to where we needed. And I said, you know what, technology is what we know best, let's shift it. And we basically end up using this platform as a SaaS model to help transportation companies, brokers, and consumers. From launching that platform, we were approached by Odessa, second biggest auction. They bought us out.
Wow.
We had a great exit, 7-digit exit, so it was a good chunk of money. From there, I built other systems, which are still in the process. We're still benefiting from those. But that opened up a lot of my time. That's when I went to and started to volunteer in state prison. This is where I discovered the peak performance coaching. My whole life changed there once I started to go to volunteer. As I mentioned to you, I would tell everybody, if you want your life to transform and change, go and volunteer in state prison. Once you see the inmates, you see how humble and crushed they are and how much freedom we have on the outside. We have no right not to take advantage of that. So from there, one after another, I end up basically transitioning. I transitioned into business coaching after speaking on one of the speaking engagements, and my whole life changed from there. Basically, I started to embrace personal development on a crazy level. I read 1 to 2 books a week. Audiobooks actually helped with that. There's not much time to physically read the books, but through audio, every time you go somewhere, gym or some other driving, I always listen to some audiobooks. So that kind of brought me to where I am today, where I'm actually helping business owners scale their businesses, doubling, tripling, sometimes even 10x their business.
That's incredible. That is incredible, and I really appreciate you sharing that and I really kind of want to laser focus on a little bit because I don't think in the business world we always talk about success and achievement, but I really kind of want to focus on, if you will, your failure of the $500,000 furniture business. But though that was not a failure, it was a good learning experience, and I really like to ask you during that time, kind of a two-part question. One, what was the biggest thing that you learned from that? And secondly, what kept you going? Some people, when they get knocked down, you're down. But obviously you got back up, and I know it takes a lot of energy and effort, and I'd love to hear, kind of what kept you going.
Yeah, sure. Great question. Amazing question. So, when I go back in time, what actually was going through my head back then when I lost it all, I always had this attitude that I can do it. I told, even when I went programming, I did not speak any English still. People were nice enough to explain to me what they actually wanted from me, and I'm blessed that they had so much patience. But I always looked at things from the positive angle. I knew if somebody did it, I could do it. I don't know how much time it's going to take me, but I will figure it out. Mm-hmm. I guess that was my biggest drive to keep pushing. It's also I did not do it alone. It was my wife. My wife. I'm also blessed with having her in my life. She was like a wall. She's the house in our house. Like she's the foundation of the house as a wife. I'm forever grateful for her not giving up and actually supporting me to find a solution, to figure things out. So the challenge was real. It was horrible. People don't even probably know what's in there. Imagine you always get calls from people harassing you that you owe them money. You don't know all the monies to the banks, right? So some of them were vendors, some of them were local companies that you did advertisements with, that you committed to do annual or quarterly contracts. Then you had creditors, credit cards, loans. So all that was chasing you. That's one. Second, there is no food to. There's no money to buy food with, right? So, and there is no car to go shopping. I remember that for 2 years we actually had to ask neighbors, friends to borrow a car to drive to a store to do the little shopping that we could do. And you also ran out of people to borrow money from, right? That's another thing. It's not like you went to a friend. And you cannot buy a lot of shopping because you don't have money to just stock up your freezer with some stuff and not go there and just hang in the house. You cannot go out because in Florida everything is through the car.
Yeah.
To go to park, it's like at least a mile. You're not going to carry your newborn and toddlers for 1 mile just to go to park, right? So we even had moments when there was no toilet paper, there's no diapers. I actually once remembered asking my friend to go, and he came with his car, and I took some buckets that I had. We went to get some water from his house, drove me back so I could just flush the toilet. That's how bad it was.
Oh, gracious.
Right, so it's challenging. So what made it for me is, again, coming from where I'm from, right? So I always had money. I was able to get money. All money was coming easy to me because I was a web developer, technology, right? My challenge was that I could not recoup with doing programming. That's what I realized. You have to basically, number one, realize that help is not coming from anywhere. You cannot rely on anybody, because as long as you rely on somebody, you're not going to do anything about it. So I realized that nobody can help me, and I just needed to hit the rock bottom. And rock bottom for me was that a friend of mine, she's much older, she came and I'll never forget this story because that was it. This is when I made a decision that life will change. She actually said to me that somebody invited her for a dinner and she saved $20. And she wanted to give me that $20. So there was a lady, again, I'm not having anything against women, it's just where I'm coming from, usually man pays for everything. So we as gentlemen supposed to support, you go on a date, I always expect men to pay. Women should not pay. You're having a good time, they're giving you their presents. So that's how they pay. They do the makeup, they look nice, they make you proud that you're with that individual. So that's enough from their end. So here was a woman is giving me $20. And it's not like she's giving me, here's $1,000, pay your rent, right? And rent was, I think I was renting back then $14.50. It's not like a big chunk of money that I could do something with it, but $20, I told you, it's like a fortune when you slow down. So I had two choices, accept it or not to accept it. So in one end it was like, wow, I went that low that the other people saving on dinner and giving me that money. And so I wanted to decline initially, but then I remembered my rabbi, my mentor, always told me that pride is for losers. So I could be proud. I know I can use this money, even just a little bit. It's tremendous help. So I took the money, and the second also thought was I had to take the money because she wanted to do something nice. If I would reject it, it would not come across well. She had such an intention. She came all the way to my house to give me that. It was so important to her to do that. So, but when I took it, that was it for me. I said, okay, something needs to happen. And I just went online. Thank God we have internet, right?
Yeah.
You don't need to ask people. You just go online, and I started looking. How can I not get myself involved so much and leverage my knowledge and technology to do something about it. So one after another, and I discovered that affiliate marketing, and again, that was sleepless nights. I was sleeping maybe 2-3 hours a day to the point where like I had crazy back pains. I couldn't sit anymore. But I would not get off the computer until I said I'm going to figure it out. And when we did affiliate marketing, basically that was something that I grabbed on, that kind of gave us a breather, and then my confidence started to build up. So again, going back, one is you need to realize nobody's helping you. It's all you. And you need to also realize, again, spirituality helped me a lot too. The sages teach us that according to the camel, its load. No, how is it? The load is basically based on your strength, because that's what you're given. You would not be given something more, something that you could not handle. If it was given to you, you're strong enough to overcome it. Mm-hmm. So I knew it was just a matter of time, basically. The second thing also, not to get hooked on information, because if we constantly grab on, there's one more thing I need to do, and I caught myself many times doing that. Sometimes even I still do that sometimes. I would say, like, you know what, that one more skill that I need, and then I'm going to be out there doing what I need to do. Just another thing I need to do before I would actually go with full force. No, you just got to start. Just do it. Make the first step. Even if it's not perfect, go for it. Just take a chance. Yeah. And then you just quick adjust as you go. That would actually would be a tremendous help and shift and following through. So environment again helped. I had a lot of support from my wife, and I think that was a foundation for everything.
Definitely. And I appreciate you explaining that. And I really like that one story, what you always say. Obviously that situation where, one of your mentors, if you will, said basically pride is stupid. Do not be prideful, because of course that individual, you're robbing that individual of that blessing to bless you in your situation, and they're in that situation to bless you. And then obviously carrying on to just like you just said, is just starting. I see so many entrepreneurs now that are in this information situation where they're just stuck in this information, YouTube video, podcast, and they don't ever actually do it and develop it and produce it and create it, right? And I guess, like you just said, it's kind of like, and correct me if I'm wrong, but basically what you did during that time, you just got laser focused, and you just put your head down every single day, had the support, like you knew you could count on your wife, but you just focused on what you needed to do and developing and producing, and like you just said, leveraging your expertise, what you had available at that time. So during that time, in order to get out of debt, how did you get out of debt? I mean, I know you lost a lot of stuff and you just lived below your means, but obviously, you had to pay off that. So I'm just curious on that.
So when I did that, when I figured out what I wanted to do, then I needed to find money, right? Because I still did not have money.
Yep.
So to do affiliate marketing, paid advertisements, you had to pay for your campaigns. So I started to contact everybody that I knew that needed lead generation. So I got introduced to someone who had he was a lead generator, an affiliate for. He would generate leads in the shipping world, international shipping, I remember. So I made a deal with him that I would be able to optimize his campaign that he started. I'm going to bring it to the point where it would, he would be spending $10,000-$15,000 and doubling, tripling his money. And I told him that I'm not going to charge him to do that. Because basically I needed the proof of concept. I had a theory. I knew how to do it, but I could not actually do it myself. So my intention was there, once I do it for him, I'm gonna start my own. And actually, initially it was not. So it was important also one point because I did not. I had to burn the bridge with this guy. So what happened is the agreement that we wrote and agreed on verbally. I said that if I'm gonna make it work for him, then I'm gonna do that for me because I know that's working already. So verbally he agreed, and I had my wife as a witness and my friend. He wasn't a speaker. So when we did all this, 3 months into it, it was producing crazy money. So we basically were generating leads at $3-4 per lead, and we were selling it at $10-15 per getting it back. So I duplicated the site. I changed the content obviously to support me. I showed somebody that, look, we're producing the money here. So then I went and I borrowed money with a crazy percentage. So I borrowed $20,000 at 30% in 1 year.
Wow, gracious.
So but I made and that person trusted that money because I showed him a successful campaign that I made it work, and I was intending to duplicate, and I did that. So my campaign took off. So that the individual that I made a deal with, when he found out that I'm doing pretty much the same thing, in some way I'm competing with him, even though I did not really compete. We agreed that that's what I'm going to do, and he cannot possibly take all the positions of Google and take all of the leads. There's just too much in the pot. So we end up basically separating. I let him have his campaign, so he went his way, and mine basically took off from there. So from shipping, I went into other home improvement. I started to generate leads in other verticals, and it was easy money too. So that kind of started to pay off all the bills. The things just started to take off. I paid off the debt. I started to involve in projects and just got up to some success, and that gives you such a boost to your thinking, to your foundation, that you believe that you can take on a bigger. And then you're going to try something. Your enthusiasm grows with that, so you try something bigger, and it, obviously cash flow is everything. Do whatever you can not to ever stop the cash flow. I had those lessons also. Jumping on a new thing and stopping all the cash flow, that's smack is coming. Don't ever do that. Cash flow must be in place. So lifestyle would not change. So as long as you have cash flow, you can make mistakes.
100%.
Easy and not feel bad. When you don't have money, no cash flow, mistake, it's a huge smack to your mindset, to your enthusiasm. It's basically, they say to build a house, you need a team, you need a lot of planning, there's a lot of effort. To burn down the house is one match.
Yeah, wow.
So one failure can do a lot of damage to you if you do not have your streams of support that you're getting. It's your environment, it's your cash flow, it's information that you're exposed to, relationships that you have. All that basically is feeding you. So keep it positive, keep it empowered, and you just dominate whatever comes your way.
So that's really cool, and I appreciate you explaining that extra as well, because I see so many people that want to build a side hustle and a home business, and they want to get out of their job so quickly, or they want to get out of their career so quickly that they make that preemptive jump before they're actually ready, like you just said, building cash flow on the side. Now I'd like to go back to that story with obviously that individual where you gave your services for free. For those, that's a risk that you took, because you didn't even know. I mean, maybe you did believe that it would work. You knew it would work. But, I mean, obviously you didn't have the results. And so, there was some of that risk. It was like, oh, gosh. So I'm curious, with that situation, how much time did you spend on, his marketing campaign to create those funnels and so forth?
3 months or so we worked together, then we had to separate. Prior to actually going and approaching where I was confident enough that I could pull it off, and I had nothing to lose, right? And he had nothing to lose. He didn't have to pay me, right? So I spent about 4 or 5 months researching, and it was just all on my agenda was just find a way.
Yeah.
There is a way. It's there. You just need to come across it. So I just followed all the big influencers in that space because it was talking to me basically. And I was just going through their webinars, trainings, like anything their email. I would get on the basically newsletter. I would just scrutinize everything they would say. And again, a lot of it I understood because of my background in programming. So it was easy for me to put together those pages, and because I didn't have to pay anybody. I could do it all myself. So my only challenge was always content. But I would copy from others. It's okay. Whatever it takes, right? So it's not really, I don't believe it's stealing because you adjust it to your needs. But I would use somebody else's ideas, and I know what's good.
Yeah.
I just tweak it to make it my own. So it's not like identical copy.
100%. Okay, I appreciate that. So, guys, and I just want to speak to my audience real quick. For those that are listening, guys, that is 3 months that he spent investing into this, and that was not, he didn't even get paid. But what he did was he built that reputation all of a sudden. And then now what happened, he had that incredible result. Now, don't get me wrong, he knew what he needed to do when he got that contract, when he got that relationship. He didn't just fumble and say, oh, sorry. He put a lot of time and effort behind it. Treated it like more than a full-time job. He probably spent 60 hours. Am I correct on that, Borush?
Yeah, probably even more.
Yeah, probably even more every week.
2-3 hours a day. I was abusing my body at that time, but I was desperate to find a way.
Definitely. And see, and that's what I love about these stories so many times is that when you are in a corner, and it really defines who you are as a character, as a man, as a woman. When you're in that corner, what are you going to do? Are you going to just kind of cower and just go, oh, crap, I quit? Or are you going to get back up and fight for it? Because that's what life's going to happen to you. So that's really cool, man. And I want to just kind of switch a little bit, kind of talking a little bit down, a little more personal. I think what's really cool is in your description, what we talk about. You want to help people build businesses, but also, don't lose the whole, lifestyle and family. And sacrificing family. And I think I really appreciate that because, like we were talking about, before we got on this phone call, is, significance. Significance is getting to the top and saying, I still have a relationship with my wife. I still have a relationship with my kids. And I've still achieved incredible financial, relational, spiritual success. So let me ask you, what is your definition of, would you say, that family balance, that lifestyle, if you will?
Yeah. I made a lot of mistakes. Again, remember, personal development was not something that I was into, right? As I was telling you also, when you have kids, you don't need any education. You just go to the hospital, they'll give you, just hand it to you, just like they did with me. Here's your child, go home. So we do not get any certification, any training. We don't get any classes on relationships. You're getting married. There's nothing there that would force you to take, right? Like not, you can go optionally research that, but come on. At that age, you actually would pay somebody to tell you how to have a relationship with your spouse in the right way, how to actually parent your kids and all that. None of that exists, right? So something that I will share with you, though, that touched me, I was blown away by this study that was done by Gerald Bell. Gerald Bell. So what he did, he took 4,000 retired CEOs, people that basically were executives. And they were in the average age was 70 years old. So he asked them basically, here's a survey for you. Again, this is 4,000 people. Prioritize in the order that would matter to you. And I actually will send you a link. I actually blogged about it to specific things that he asked. So there, in the priority of list, they said that one of the main things was that they would set the goals in life much earlier, because a lot of people really don't set goals, don't plan, they just go through life existing, right, in a routine mode. Then they would save money, they would work on a career, And what's interesting, they put family on the fourth one, and what the personal development was number 5. I was blown away by that. I'm like, oh, come on. I'm like, yeah, I'm not coming from the arrogant side. It's just what I discovered so far in my life, and looking at what, nobody is in the last day on this world. Again, that's coming from my rabbi mentor. He said, nobody on a dying bed says, I wish I had another day in my office.
Yeah, yep.
Nobody wants to, even when I ask people sometimes, okay, so what's your exit strategy? Oh, I'm not planning to exit. So I'm like, oh, so you're telling me that they will find you dead at your office desk?
Yeah.
Oh, no, that's not what I meant. Eventually I'm going to sell the business, I'm going to pass it to my kids. And oh, okay, so there is an exit, right? Or another one is coming from our sages. One of the sages said, imagine you would resurrect the dead for 24 hours. What would they do in those 24 hours? Would they run to their work and put in another prospecting call? They would take care of another client? What are they going to do, right? So all of a sudden you understand what's so valuable. So in that study I was blown away. Again, I'm not coming from arrogance. It's just based on my value system. I think all 4,000 of them messed up.
Yep.
Why I say that? Because personal development should be number 1. If you invest in yourself, and it's not selfish, if you invest in yourself first, just like in the airplane, right? You put the mask on yourself first before you're going to try to help others.
Yep.
Because if you invest in you, you set yourself good, you will share what you have. You cannot share what you don't have. If you have love, kindness, money, that's what you're sharing. Yeah. If a person is full of depression, sadness, and anxiety, guess what he's sharing? So they put it on number 5 and family number 4. I think if they would put personal development as number 1, they would set goals, they would be with their family, they would not have regrets in life. It's just when we go to work, you ask any entrepreneur, anybody who's going to work, a provider to the family, why do you go to work? They'll say, to provide to my family. But what happens, we get so carried away with work that we forgot why we went to work. If we're working for our family, why are we ignoring our family? We become workaholics, we become obsessed, because we're so good at it, and we gravitate something that, as soon as you get something, when you know about something really well, or you do something really well, you get tremendous amount of dopamine from there. That becomes your, it's like you become an addict, it's a drug. You gravitate to that. Why would I be home when my spouse does not really understand how good I am? She doesn't say certain things, the recognitions that I get at work, from co-workers, from clients, right? And I don't get that high from my kids too, because they don't really see what I see, and especially it's such a disconnect right now, right, with our kids. So by nature they want to be at work, but that separation creates divorces. Those divorces causes kids to grow up in broken families, and it becomes also, they become immune to, like, so what, you separated. Divorce is so normal. So they don't want to commit and hold on to things and sacrifice things. It's easy to divorce and start over. So I believe the work is a trap, and when we understand why it's a trap, and realize that I don't want to be one of those men that dedicated all my life to work, and then finally when it's time to retire, I don't know what to do with myself, because now I want to be close to my family. I want my kids, I want my grandkids. Guess what? Your kids and your grandkids don't want you. You were never there.
Yeah.
So these older individuals now, they find like they don't have any hobbies. It's just work, work, work. Nobody wants them at work now, so they feel like, hey, I cannot really contribute to society anymore. Nobody, and I heard that so many times. Most of my friends are older, so a lot of them pass the same message to me. Everybody wants to be in a position where they feel needed. But if you're not close with your family, if you divorced by yourself, if you did not regroup and focus on developing yourself and investing in every dimension of your life, understanding how all that works, it's going to be very lonely at the end and very painful. Yesterday I went to visit somebody in a hospital, since September the person is there. He's an older individual, but guess what? For 4 months his wife is right there with him, taking care of him. I visit a lot of men that by themselves, nobody wants them. Nobody even knows they got into a hospital.
Wow.
So it's a lot of wake-up calls. People need to be exposed to things that will make them to sit down one day and think about life. No, don't just go through life on autopilot. Become more conscious. But to consciousness, you gotta, again, personal development. Invest in following some speakers. Like I highly recommend to look at somebody that I admire, Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn is it. This guy was amazing. The message that he passed. The students like Tony Robbins. That's a student of Jim Rohn. You look at the Darren Hardy, that Success.com. That's a student of Jim Rohn. You take Brad Sugars, who's the founder of Action Coach, the biggest coaching firm in the world. That's Jim Rohn's student. Like these people that making an impact right now in the world, they're basically his extensions. They're continuing his work. It's amazing. So tap into somebody who could be a really role model and develop you. Invest in your development, or you'll be just one of those men that looks back at his or her life and say like, oh, I wish I did this and I did this and I did that. But by then it's too late.
Yeah, I appreciate you sharing that, because there's a lot of wisdom in that. Because just like you said, there are so many times where we definitely when we're younger, we want to conquer the world. We have so many goals and dreams and so forth, and and I'm always curious, because I think everybody gets to that different point, if you will. Some people, it takes a little while, maybe not even till their deathbed, where they all of a sudden realize, oh crap, I messed up. And obviously you understood that well before. So let me ask you, have you always been that way, or was that a transformation where you really focused on building incredible business, and then all of a sudden you're like, you know what, I still want to build incredible business, but I also value my family, and so there's that give and take. At what point did you realize that? Because obviously you were shaking your head there.
It was much later, because initially, again, what's interesting, life does not give you warnings, right? Like when you go to a beach and to get a suntan, you can spend a whole day there, and when you come home, all of a sudden you feel, you take a shower, your skin burns, right? So only then you realize the after effect. They made an experiment with frogs. They took a frog and placed it in cold water and turned on the heat. So just like on the beach, us getting tan, the water was getting hotter and hotter. The frog would not come out. It would actually die.
Oh.
But when they took the frog and threw it into hot water, it would jump out. Right? So in life is the same way. Life will not give you warnings. It's just that you don't even realize how eating a pint of ice cream every evening, watching a show, all of a sudden a year later gets you 20, 30 pounds overweight, low energy level, not as attractive. You have arguments with your spouse. But that all started a year before that, right? It's not like I ate a pint of ice cream, boom, smack. Like, oh, I gained. There's no instant warning. So with me, I was obsessed with work. I love what I do. Anything I touch, I usually don't do what I don't like. So most people do what they like. Sometimes they could transition and forced into doing something, and then they just settle for this. But if you don't tolerate, you will do what you like. But you get obsessed, and your whole attention is there. So I had my spouse. It was just two of us, and then we had newborn, and then another baby, and I'm like working. I'm trying to get out of my debt issues and all that stuff. So I'm working. I always wanted to work from home. I was not the person that would go to the office and sit in the office. Maybe I'll do that for a couple of months, but then I have to be remote. Like, I like freedom. I want to do whatever I want to do when I want to do. I'm very disciplined, but I leave on my terms. I don't want to ask permission when I want to go do my things. So only when my kid, oldest child, became 7 years old, I had a wake-up call that I have a child who's 7 years old. At that time, I actually already had 4 or 5 kids already. I think 5 kids. Yeah, I already had 5 kids. So I realized that I have kids when I already had 5 kids.
Wow.
And that was a huge smack for me because I all of a sudden realized that I got so much into my work, I just did not see an importance to go, and I'll tell you, that's sad to say, but I'll tell you, I saw a commercial of a person on the phone and swinging swinging a child in the park, right? But he was not with the child, he was on the phone. I was that guy. To me, it was like, what a waste of time. Everything is a waste of time. Everything that was not producing money, everything that was not building me up, it was a waste of time. Got to the point where I became not fun to go anywhere because I just was not there. Right? I would always talk about work, about projects, about this, that. So I just did not want to go with my kids because I was not getting that value, that high from there. So guess what? Right now, I'm 42, 43. I play tags with my kids in the park pretty much every Sunday. We play soccer and no phone. Forget the phone. You be there, you present, you enjoy. So it was not that I come in, and that's why they're also doing a lot of effort with Vicepreneur, right? The company that we started. We exposing youth, young entrepreneurs to entrepreneurship and leadership to understand these values and not wait until they're 40, 50, all of a sudden look back and like, oh, my child is already 7, my child is already 10. Because I'll tell you, like, there's more things. I have all of my kids go through therapy because I realized there were a lot of mistakes that I did while they were growing up, and I'm still finding out things, and that I never was not even aware. I thought it was normal. That's how it is. And a lot of people like that right now, they work 60 hours. I heard that myself. They tell me this is what owning a business means. I'm like, no. That's not what owning a business is. You should not be working 60 hours and afraid to take a day off because your whole business will collapse. Because that's not a business, that's a job. The business should work by itself, and there's a ways to do that. You just did not give it attention, you did not give enough time to explore how is it possible to do that. But you can systemize your business where you do not need to be there. That's the proper way. Business is fun, entrepreneurship is fun, life is fun. Kids, fun, money, fun, everything is fun in life. It's just because we do not know, we avoid it, we're afraid of it, we don't want to be exposed to unknown. Again, I can go on and on and on about this, but no, my life was not such beautiful thing day one. It was a lot of rude awakenings, like I told you, getting a suntan. All of a sudden, it's a smack. Now, what are you going to do about it? You're going to go back and try to regroup, fix it up, and or you're going to tolerate and close your eyes and pretend like you do not see it.
And that's what's really cool, because like you just said is, when you taste that truth and you realize it and your eyes are open now, all of a sudden you have a decision, you have a choice. And now, once you understand you have a choice, you have to just live with the consequences of that choice. And now you're in a situation where you're able to know your kids and you love your kids and you're able to have some fun, but also you're able to build an incredible business in what you're doing for other people and impacting the world. And what I find very interesting, and this is something that I actually had to struggle with personally, is, when I was at work, I'd feel guilty for not being at home. But then when I was at home, I'd feel guilty for not being at work. And so you were never actually, content, and I guess, there's a difference between complacency and contentment. Contentment is just acknowledging your presence with your son when you're going in on that Sunday without the phone. You don't have to worry about a phone call. You're there, present. You're just focused. You're content. Doesn't mean you're complacent. You're going to still go out there and produce incredible results for your life, but it's just you're content. You're enjoying life at the moment. And I definitely hear what you're saying. And I really appreciate it. I know we've got quite a bit of wisdom just from understanding you. I think just to get you more on our podcast, I think it would be awesome to have you on as a guest. Borush, if you would just let our audience know how they can reach out to you. If you guys have a business you're struggling to kind of make it to the next level, to scale it, obviously reach out to Borush Akbosh. and he would be able to assist you. Obviously, he's got incredible knowledge in a lot of avenues. How can they reach out to you?
Sure, they can send me an email. It's Boruch at Akbosh.com. So it's BORUCH at AKBOSH. Or they can visit my website, baruchakbosh.com, and just fill out the contact us form there, and I will definitely reach out to them. It's always a pleasure to share, and that's pretty much what we're all about at the end of the day. We have something. My whole life mission right now is to push forward with online business school that we initiated, that kids do not have to wait until they become an adult to say, I wish I knew this when I was younger. So we're giving them everything that they need in order for them to succeed in life. So at the same time, obviously, adults, I look at adults and myself, we're just more sophisticated kids. We're still kids. We still want that car, whether it's a toy, a physical toy, or it's actually a bigger car. So it just became more sophisticated. But we're still driven by emotions. We're still driven by similar desires. So just a little more sophisticated. And life is great. Something that the people need to realize, that every life worth living. It's just, what are you willing to tolerate? So I'm here to become people aware. I believe that's my life mission, to make them aware. Because once you're aware, you understand why. Again, you don't need an alarm clock for that. You just go and do it.
Yes, and you're exactly right. And I appreciate you, being on, and just the knowledge you were able to just share with me. I've been impacted just from talking to you. You guys, if you want to reach out to him, you can actually take a look at the subscription, the information right below. That would be his email, his website as well. We're going to be posting that there. But definitely check out him. Reach out to him if you even have any small questions. Having side hustle or a home-based business or anything like that. He would be able to reach out. An incredible guy. He's on LinkedIn all the time as well, so highly recommend it. But guys, here he is, an incredible man. Go out and just learn from him.